Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So, today I wanted to show you guys something. I've been asked many times how I process and store my mushrooms over the winter for things like soups, spaghettis, or just sauteing mushrooms up for the side of a steak. So I wanted to show you today how to take care of these mushrooms. Let's go. So these are the chanterelle mushrooms that we picked up yesterday down on the coast. You can see that we got some really nice specimens in here. Now, I've already gone through and washed these mushrooms, and I go ahead and wash them with water because I know that I'm going to be putting them in the pan just shortly after doing that. So these are all slightly wet right now. I could put a fan on them if I wanted and dry them out if I wanted to, say, give them as little basket gifts to friends. But these are all going into the pan today, so it doesn't matter. Some of these, like this one here, wouldn't be good for anything else but this method that I'm doing today. I really love this one here. But we're going to go ahead and get these cut up now and get them into the pan. Okay, so now that we have all of the mushrooms cut up and into the pan, and you can see that this pan's pretty full and it's not a small pan at all, we're going to go ahead and turn on the heat. Now, some people would be surprised to see this many mushrooms in a pan and doing what I'm doing, but it's fine. They're going to release their waters and all of these are going to cook here in a few minutes. Let me show you how it's done. Now I'm just going to be working these mushrooms around with this spoon while the pan warms up. Once some water gets in the very bottom, it's going to be a lot easier to work these mushrooms around. Now at this point you can add in some seasonings if you wanted to and you knew what you were going to be doing with these. Normally I would add in some salt, but I plan on giving some of these mushrooms as gifts and I want the person who cooks them to have the ability to add the salt if they want to. So we're just going to cook this as straight mushrooms. It's going to make a beautiful broth. Although, scratch that, we will be adding in some butter because everything is better with butter. Oh man, sorry about that color setting, guys. Somehow my my white balance got turned on to the wrong setting. So I hope that looks a little bit better. But as you guys can see, some of that broth or the water that's coming out is directly from the mushrooms. This, in my opinion, is one of the best parts of the mushroom for cooking, besides the mushroom itself. And you can see that the butter is still melting its way down. So we're going to cook this to where it gets nice and hot, that butter melts down completely. Once this butter is melted completely and stirred amongst this for a few minutes, I'm going to kill the heat and we're going to transfer this. Okay, so now that the mushrooms have released their water and the butter is fully melted into the liquid, we're going to go ahead and turn off the heat on these and let them cool down for a few minutes, and then they can be separated into their containers. So let's talk about what you put your mushrooms in once they've cooled down. Now, you can pour it into a freezer Ziploc like this in measured amounts. With these size bags, if I'm freezing them in them, I usually put about 2 cups per bag. And then I can break it in half when I want to use 1 cup of mushrooms in my cooking. But in recent years, I've switched to something different. I've switched to a freezer jam container. Now this is pretty awesome. I can fit in about 1.5 cups of mushrooms into this, but the best thing about it is once the mushrooms are frozen, I can pop the mushrooms out of them and put them into one of these. That allows me to put more mushrooms into these bags but have them easily separated and measured. So we're going to be putting the mushrooms into these today, and once they're frozen, I'll transfer them into one of these. Now, if you only have a few of these freezer jam containers, you can always use a standard Tupperware. Just don't use them for long storage. If you're using them as a mold, like I am, I have no problem doing this because once it's frozen, it's going into the bag. So we're going to get the rest of this material in and get them ready to go into the freezer. So thanks for joining me today, everybody. I really enjoyed filming this and showing you how I personally store my mushrooms. If you guys have a method that you'd like to share, leave it in the comments down below. I would love to hear the methods and I would be happy to try them out here on the channel. If you'd like to see some of my other adventures, you can also check out my channel Pacific Northwest Prospecting. I'll try to put in a link in right here for it. You can also subscribe to this channel right here. Yeah, right there. And tune in for future videos. This is going to be the channel that I'm going to use for showing off camera stuff, adventures out in the forest, lots of different things that don't necessarily fit on my Pacific Northwest channel. So, thanks for joining me today, guys, and until next time, bye.